Welcome to my channel Learn Tech. This is Sandeep Cole here. I hope you all doing good. So today's video which I am going to take is on DWP, and today what we are going to say is that how we can define an approval process in digital workplace. So as part of the earlier videos, what I have already showcased you that how to define service, how to define workflows, then how to define these actions. But now, if let's say you need to associate an approval or a workflow, sorry, an approval process with a DWP or a digital workplace, that we are going to see in this video. Okay, so let's get started. Now, this you already know that this is a digital workspace catalog where we define all these catalogs. People who are not aware, so please go through my earlier videos where I have defined each and every aspect of this particular console, where what is a service, what is a workflow, what are entitlements, what is a role and subcatalog, and so on and so forth. Everything what is there in the console, I have explained it, how to define it. So, but now today we will also define a complete process, but it will include the approvals. So now, before we go and define any process, what we need to do is we have to see based on what their approval should go. Normally, if you go with digital workspace, the approval process is not something similar to BMC remedy. It is a little bit different. So that difference, what is the difference, how it is being processed, where to look for it, we will see it. Okay, now let me go here in the workflows. So what we will do as part of this approval process, we'll take an example that we will define a request where, let's say, somebody we want to define a service where a person will request for a laptop, but before this laptop is processed, given to him, it has to be approved by his manager. Okay, so that is the example we are going to take today. So now what we will do, first of all, we have to define a workflow. So this is the first step here. So you have to define a workflow, so which will have an let's first of all create a new workflow which we will define for requesting a new laptop. So I will say request new laptop. Okay, now as I said earlier also, they can associate it with any catalog. I will associate it with the default catalog, but you can define your own catalogs and then you can associate it with. This is basically a segregation we can do. Now we have come to approval. Sorry, we have come to a workflow building space. So now first thing what we do is, so before we know whenever we have to request for this one particular laptop, which is our example. So whenever we have to request for a laptop, so we should be sending this for approval. Okay, now what we do, we take this call activity. You can see here, then in the palette we have this call activity. I'll bring it here. Okay, so this is the first step you will take. Okay, you will bring this call activity. Then what I have to do, I have to associate an approval process with it. Okay, now how we know that which approval process has to be done with it, or what I can associate here for the call activity. As part of this DWP, if you go through BMC documentation also, they have built a default approval processes for DWP. If you go to the DWP section here, there is a process for approval, request approval. Okay, let me go to all processes. I'm not able to search it here. Let me go to this section. Okay, by default, you will not see this process in the workflow. It's a hidden process. BMC has, hide it so that it cannot be overridden or it cannot be modified, deleted. So that is why they have hidden it in the console itself. You will not be able to see this in the workflow, but this is a workflow process. So what I will do, I will call this process here. Now, what it does basically, it will add some input mapping here. Now, what happens? You have to associate a approval process name here. Okay, so whatever approval process name you define here in the request approval, that will be requested. Now, what is this approval process name? Let's go to that first and then we will come here. Okay, so now if I go here, let me go to remedy. So this approval process is nothing but what we define as a approval process in here in the approval administration console. So it is the same approval process we define in remedy. People who are aware with this, they know that whatever approval process BMC remedy uses, we define it here. Whether it's an out-of-box process or a custom process, we define it here. Now, as part of the out-box process, what BMC have done, they have defined this managerial approval as we request managerial approval. This is a process which has been defined by BMC for DWP. This is specially for DWP. Now, let me go back to my console. Okay, now here, if you want to call a custom approval process, so then you have to give this name, which is this name. But uh, you know, um, always make sure before you define a custom approval process for DWP, you have to define this here. By default, you cannot use these processes because they work on different forms. Now, for this process, which should work on DWP, it is defined on this form, which is SB colon service request stub or service broker service request stub. So this is a linkage from between BMC remedy and DWP. Let me open this also to showcase you. So if I go here, and let me just copy paste it here. Okay, so I'll open this form for you. Okay, now this is the form which will store our request. We will see this. We'll come to this form. Okay. Now coming back to the approval process. So approval process name here is the name of the approval process is what we have to define here in the process name. If I go here, if you click on this call activity, it will have a process name. So here I can mention, for example, I need to define service request level, or I have to define I have a custom process called SB level approval. So I'll define it something like, okay. Similarly, I will have to define the process name. Okay. But now if you do not define anything here, let's say I go here, I remove it, keep it blank. So by default, what it does, it will take this approval process, which is defined here. So by default, it will take this approval process, which is a managerial approval. If you open it, it's basically a parent-child approval process where if you request something, it will go to your manager. So similarly, you can define, you can define other type of approval processes like level. You can define then other processes which are there. Okay, so by default, what happens in DWP, if I do not define anything here, it will take this default process. We will see that. Okay. But then for the custom process, if you want to run a custom process, you need to define it here first. You need to define it first. You need to define its rules, all the rules of that process. If let's say you want to use a level, then you have to define the level. So if you want to use the level, you need to define the level process that you can define here. And once it is defined, then you can go here and then you can associate it here. You can just give the process name, approval process name here. So whatever approval process you have defined here in the console, that you can use here in the DWP by giving the name of the process. Okay, then once it will call this, it will take that name, it will call that approval process, and whatever is defined in that approval process, that will be followed. Okay, but for us, for this example, we will keep it to basic, we will not do anything. Okay, so now I have defined this call activity. I am not associating anything. I have just used this request approval process. I'm calling this from this component. Okay. Now, second step which I need to do is, let's say I need to now create a work order. So what I will do, I will use the work order component, create remedy work order. So let me use that remedy work order component. Okay. Now, before I if I directly go here and associate it with it, it will directly after this approval process is done, it will move to the next part, and it will call the work order. It will create the work order, and then it will go to the end process. But ideally, if this will work only if you are, you are using this out of the box process. You are not defining any custom approval process. But in case I define a custom approval process, then what I need to do is before I go and create this work order. So what I need to do, I have to I have to create one, this exclusive object. So this is basically a object which decides what is going to happen after the approval. Now let's say, because in approval, either it can be approved or it can be rejected. So now here I will decide if it is approved where it should go, if it is rejected where it should. Okay. So then in that case, what I will do, I will just associate one with, okay, sorry, I would say with this one. Now, if you select this one, you have to build the condition here. So in the condition, what I will define is that this is my call activity means, okay, wait, let me rename it. So let me give it a label name as approval. Oh, for approval. A request for approval. So it will now make sense, okay, for you to understand. Okay, now let me go here. So here, then you can see this is my request for approval process. So here I would say I will bring this status component is equal to, either you can, approve. Either you can use this or you can copy this into a variable. You have to define a variable for this, then copy the value. Then in case if you need to do some another checks, you can do it there, and then it will work. Okay. Then here, okay, now I have defined this approval process. I have associated a condition. If it is approved, it should go to this particular, it should create a work order, and then the process should end. Now, for this exclusive object, you have to also define one path, which is if it is not approved. So you can write more conditions, like if it is rejected, what should happen? If it is cancelled, what should happen? But if you do not do any of this, you need to have a default path. Okay, so it will follow where if there is no condition, if it is approved, it will go to this path. If it is either rejected, cancelled, something, it will directly go to end. It will not, it will not go to any other option other than, approved. Once it is approved, then only it will create a work order. Now, if I go here, again, we'll go to the approval process. Now we can see here, you need to provide these values. Unless and until you provide these values, this approval process cannot proceed. So because these are all required fields for the approval process. First is requested for user ID. So what I will do in this case, again, I have showed it in my earlier videos also. We have to define a variable, and the variable is a context variable. So it is a service broker object with which I get all the fields from service request form. So let me use this ID. I'm just using a random ID, but it is up to you. You have to define a proper ID for this. So in the data type, I would say server request, and then I will save it. So now I saved this context variable. It will be available to me for the next step, which is input mapping. So I'll go back here. So here requested for user ID, click on this expression, go to this context. Then now you can see I got all the fields which will be available from the service request. So I'll get requested by user. I will use his login name. So login name is the ID. Okay. Now what is the next name I have to use? Approval summary. Okay. So this is the basically approval summary is the context or the text which will be sent to the approver using the using your using this approval process. So what you can do is you can define here like please approve the, you can, this is a custom process you can build here, any message to the approver, please approve the laptop request for, I would say this plus sign, then I would just use the context variable requested by user. Let's say I will use this full name. So I would say please approve the laptop request for this. That means once the approver will receive this approval, he will get it. He will come to know that okay, this request is for this one. Now you can change it, modify it according to your needs. You can make it much more interesting, much more you know friendly for the approver to decide whether he will approve it or not. Then you have to decide the service name which you want to associate. So I will click on this expression again. I'll go to context name. So you can see here there is a service and there is a service name. In the service you can go, it will take the service name of the request which I am submitting. Then similarly I go to SB service request ID. Again click here on expression. Then I will go to, I think, service request ID. Yeah. So it is, I have to define the, yes, service request ID. Okay. Okay, fine. Now I have defined the default fields for this approval process. I have defined my flow, what should happen if it is approved, and then where it should go, and how it should process it. Now, in case of this normal approval, you don't need to define it. It is you don't have to define it. Let's see if it works this way or not. But if you are defining a custom process, then you have to define a section where you will decide whether this particular process was approved or not. If it was approved, then only it should go to the next level where it is creating a record. If it is not approved, then it should follow the different path. You have to read those values. That is for a custom process. Okay, but the thing is that you will build this flow in the same manner. So let me save this. Okay, I think some of the information is not valid. Let's go there. Connection ID cannot be blank. Okay, what I have to do? Okay, we haven't provided the values for work for this work order. So where it should create the work order. So I'll use this connection object, which is basically a remedy object, connection to remedy. Then it has contact login ID. Okay, so contact login ID I will also use, I think, requested by user because it is the login name. Then I will go and I will save it. Okay, now my workflow is saved. I have defined a workflow which carries an approval process. And then what I need to do now, I just need to create one action and one service. Okay, that I'll do quickly. Go to dashboard. I would say manage service actions. I'll define a new action. Action name is request laptop. Request a new laptop. So here I will activate it. Then I will associate the workflow which I have defined, which is a request laptop. So it is the same process which we have seen earlier in the earlier videos. Whatever we have defined earlier as a, so say it is the same process. A request. I don't know what is the name. We have given a laptop request or let me search with laptop. So we'll get only request is related. Yeah, request a new laptop. This is our service. Save it. Now in the questionnaires, I have to define the questionnaires. So because there are no questionnaires currently associated with, I have to define it. So I'll say click single request. There are any process related questions, it will come here. That I have already explained you. So I'll not go into that. I'll just put a question called summary. Okay. It will be a simple text field, but label it as summary. Okay. And I'll save it. So this is just for testing the, so I would say laptop questions. This is the name of the this question set which we have defined. Okay. So let me close this. So I will associate this with it. We'll save it. Now we have defined a workflow. We have defined a service action. What we will do is we will just define a service. Create a new service, not bundle. Let's say a request for laptop. So I'll put it under IT request. Catalog, I'll use the default one. Just create it. Okay, now catalog profile, I'll just use. Let me see if I have options. I have some images, I will use them. So let me see if I have something which can be used. Okay, I have this laptop. So I will put the description request for laptop. So these are other basic things which we have already seen. Okay. So let me save this. Now workflow, I will associate a workflow with the service, which is the request for a laptop. And then questions I will associate with it. Okay, I will save it. And then finally, the last step I will do is, sorry, I have to associate also an action first. Add actions. Okay, request a new laptop. Then I will just publish it. So now my service is live. It is published. I'll directly go here. So what I need to just last step I have to do is I have to just enable this service. So I'll enable this service and then after that we will test it whether it's working or not. Okay. So not here. I had to go to some other place. Okay, so it is why it's not going to the administration. Yeah, so this is we have to now enable that service because it's a new service. So let me enable it and then we will service request. So this you need to just enable the service from here once if it is a new service you have defined. So that is go to the catalog section. Okay. So I will add this. I want a laptop, a request for a laptop. A request. Yeah, this is my request. I believe this is the one. Yes. So I have added to the. I want to make a request section. Okay, I will save this. Oh, ideally, it should be available here in my digital workspace. It should be available. Now let's do one thing. Let's see if it is available. If it is available, then let's test. Yeah, it's available. It's my request. Now let me click on request now. But some please provide me laptop. And then we'll add more if in real time scenarios it will add more fields descriptions about the request. I'm just submitting it. Okay, now you can see here it has gone for approval. So my manager, as per my approval process, is this Ariman. It has gone for the approval. Now, once you approve it, then the process is same. It will create a work order in the system that will be assigned to the as per the normal process. It will be assigned, and then the rest of the process is same. So the only part which we wanted to show was this approval. Now it is waiting for approval. Once Merriman approves it, it will go to the Let me see if I can simulate Merryman. Let's see. No, I can request only as by someone. Let's see. Let's see if we can. No, I think I can only request with this. I cannot approve it. So let me see my stuff. Yeah, let me switch profile. So the process basically is same. Once you approve it, because I have to go and now change the password, it will take more time. So, but afterwards, once it is approved from here, it is the same process. There is no difference in that. It will create a work order. It will move to the next step. Okay. And now, if I go back here to my, sorry, to the, yeah, just a minute, to the where I designed it, this one. So now what we have done, let me go back here to the workflows. Let me just solve this. So what we have done, we have defined an approval process. Currently, we are using an default approval process, which is I have already showcased you, which is this one. This SB request manager, it is used by default by BMC. But in case I want to define a custom process, there is a process. First of all, I have to define that custom process in approval sections, write all its rules. Once that is done, then it has to come here. Then you have to define it here. Then it will take that process. Whatever approval flow is there, it will take that flow. And once this approval is done, then you have to use this exclusive object to decide what to do in the next step. Then you can write an activity here also. You can use an activity to see if it is approved, then it should follow this path. If it is not approved, then it should follow this path. That also you can be decided in the workflow process itself. Okay. I think this is it for the approval process. I hope you like my videos. And I tried to keep it simple. I tried to explain you what is a basic approval process, and also I gave you an overview of how to define a custom approval process. But in future, maybe I'll take a video on that also, where I will define a custom approval process, and then I will showcase you how exactly it will work in the DWP. For now, it's like if first of all you have to just understand the basic flow. Once that is clear, then you can move on the advanced part of defining the the other custom approval processes. So because for that you have to first of all learn how to define an approval process here, where you want to define what are the different aspects of an approval process. Then you need to learn that. Once that is done, then you can define that, and then you can use it here in the DWP. So that is the next step in DWP approval process. Okay. So I hope you liked it. So please subscribe to my channel if you haven't, like my videos. Additionally, I am also running a membership plan. If you are interested, you can go to my channel, check it, where I will be loading more complex videos of BMC remedy and other things. I'm pushing that. The material is ready, but I'm just formatting it, so it will be there soon. So if you haven't subscribed there also, if you want a proper membership of our channel, you can do that, and then we can give you more detailed videos on BMC remedy. But till then, enjoy this. Okay. Thank you.